If it is believed that the Boko Haram sect, members of the Boko Haram sect, because they don't wear uniforms, they don't have a particular way they look, they are living amongst the people. How is that working out? I mean, rooting them out from amongst the populace in your state?
Well, you see, like we have always said in Borno State, Boko Haram members are not ghosts. There were those who said Boko Haram were ghosts. But these same people who said they were ghosts admitted that there was a negotiation with Boko Haram in Chad. They are not ghosts. In Maiduguri, as we speak, I can beat my chest and tell you that there is no resident Boko Haram member in the whole of Maiduguri.
How do you know that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure of that. I've been covering the state in the last 10 years. While Boko Haram members were in existence, they were living amongst the people. When the governor came into power in 2011, young boys were moving on the street brandishing weapons. Sometimes you would be in the fuel station, a young man would just come and meet you and say, look, I need to collect money from you to go and do the service of God. When you tell the person, on what basis am I going to give you this, he raises up the shirt and shows you guns. The youth volunteers have been able to chase out these guys out of Maiduguri. And that is why you hear of the goal of the Boko Haram now, if they would ever want, is how to capture Maiduguri, because they have been completely chased out of Maiduguri.
So beyond Maiduguri, they don't have any sympathizers?
Yeah, I don't think so. At the moment, I will be really surprised if any good citizen of Borno is sympathetic to the Boko Haram.
That's a big plus to the Nigerian military, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, to the Nigerian military and largely to the Borno State government, because the Borno State government, takes care of the civilian JTF. It employed them, provides them allowances, kitted them, gives a bed of course. The civilian JTF wouldn't have succeeded without the military, because the military has the firepower beyond the civilian JTF. But the important aspect of the civilian JTF is that they know these guys, because these guys lived among us. They lived among us in Maiduguri.
This is not the first time we've had this talk about people knowing some of these people who started all of this. And some have also said it's a bit of politics. Some would ordinarily say maybe it's religion. And now we're going back to political times. When we keep saying they know these guys, we've seen your former governor, Modu Sharif, once in a press conference trying to tell the people of the country that he had no hand in Boko Haram. Now he's left the party of your governor to the PDP, and now perhaps maybe it would be okay for your party to speak up objectively on this issue of those who know the people behind Boko Haram. Politically speaking now, what is the reading in Borno State concerning this issue of security, if we have to say we know these guys?
Well, like I said earlier, what I meant by saying the citizens knew those guys was that they lived amongst them. They threatened them. They killed them. There were instances where Boko Haram members went to the market to displace people, to rob people of their belongings. People knew where they lived, and that was why it was easy for the community members to get them out of the state. As we speak, most of the military guys, they rely on the youth volunteers to help them identifying the Boko Haram, even when they make mass arrests. Now, that is one aspect of it. Regarding this issue of Ali Modu Sharif, if you recall, during that press conference, he did say that he was taking the guy who made that allegation against him to court. So I do not want to speak on an issue that is already before the court. So maybe we'll wait for whatever the verdict of the court is, then we'll take it up from there.
Nonetheless, one has to ask, since you say that you're going to go with the paper reports, I don't know how many people saw the paper reports, but we wonder, did it come before the federal government's attempt to negotiate with Boko Haram in Chad?
It came in 2012.
Since that time, there's been no establishment of or contact,
Well, I must admit that there have always been efforts for peaceful resolution. There have always been efforts, particularly on the part of the Borno State government. Look, we bear the brunt of this. We are the number one casualty. We suffer this the most. So if anybody should be concerned about leading the way to find a solution to this problem, nobody should bother more than the Borno State government, because we suffer the brunt. The governor himself has lost some of his relations. We have lost hundreds of citizens. We have lost so many public institutions.
I
we
imagine
spend a lot
that's
of
the
money.
case. I'm just asking,
Yeah.
if there's been any establishment of contact since 2012. It's been 2 years. I'm just wondering if there's been.
Well, like I said, it is negotiation is a continuous process. If you remember, the president had set up a presidential committee, on peaceful resolution of that crisis. The presidential committee under the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs and Special Duty. He was in Maiduguri with a committee, and I want to believe the committee is still doing a lot of work. I think what I would probably advise the federal government, for us to address this problem, you cannot claim to address a problem in somebody's state without carrying that person along. You would end up at nothing. This is the truth. This is the truth of the matter. If you want to solve a problem of Boko Haram, for instance, you want to negotiate, there is every need for you to involve a lot of people in that community, a lot of people from the Borno State government, a lot of people from even the civilian JTF.
Because what we now
You need a lot of
saw
them.
in the wake of the federal government's negotiations was a paper headline that said that Borno elders said that the federal government was dealing with bogus Boko Haram operatives. We don't know, how they knew who the people were and whether or not they knew that they were bogus.
It's very easy. The Boko Haram that we all know, even my name is Isa, for instance. The Boko Haram members, like we have always known, they don't even adopt common Islamic names. They want to go for names that are a bit sophisticated with a lot of Arabic backgrounds. If you look, they say Darda, whatsoever. Then all of a sudden, there was somebody called Al-Ladi. Al-Ladi is not even a conventional Muslim name. It's a name attached to a day of birth. It is just like a jargon, in my opinion. So it is very doubtful for anybody to hear the name Al-Ladi and say this guy is a Boko Haram member. And I listened to an interview that the guy granted to an Abuja-based FM, where the guy was recognizing the government of the day, saying, look, we are coming out because this is our government. Boko Haram does not recognize constitutional authority. It does not recognize the Nigerian government. And the guy was also admitting the name Boko Haram. Members of this sect, they hate to be called Boko Haram.